Hello students, how are you guys today? I just wanted to follow up on the assignments that you guys posted for Wednesday. If you have not yet posted your Wednesday assignments, you can still do them for full credit. So yes, I really enjoyed reading your discussions. A lot of you guys talked about the discourse communities that you belong to, and I have a list here. This message is for students in both of my classes. I'm teaching two sections of 1101 this summer, so some of you guys might even be WhatsApping or being friends with each other between classes. That's cool. So this is for both classes. I noticed that we had members from people that go to the gym a lot and soccer, squash. We have a sneakerhead in one of the classes. Somebody is part of the Call of Duty video game community. Operation Smile, which is a cool nonprofit. CrossFit. There's a group that tours the DR. And there's one called Group Estrella volunteer group. That is so cool. And a lot of you guys mentioned the gym. I'm big into going to the gym. I miss going. Also, several of you do play basketball, so that's cool. That is so cool. Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about the vocabulary for basketball because, I have a lot of former students that I'm friends with that I play ball with now. And we speak completely differently in the classroom versus on the ball court. So some of the slang we use, of course, after a game you say, run it back. And if you're waiting to play, you say, I got downs, yo. And some of the other things, some other interesting vocabulary we hear on the court. Some of it's a little too colorful vocabulary, and I won't be able to put it on here. So yeah, go Miami Heat. It's too bad the NBA had to cancel their season or suspend their season. They're talking about maybe finishing the season with the playoffs, but we will see. I do like the Miami Heat. I do like basketball. So it was fun reading your all's posts. So the other post, let's see. You guys also talked about your experiences with writing. So yes, writing with pen and paper, that's very unusual nowadays, isn't it? I use my to-do lists. I do handwritten, and one of you said that you like to fill out cards to give to people by hand. That's cool. I do that too. But mostly I write almost exclusively on the phone or the computer like you guys. So it's kind of interesting, just to give you an older person's perspective. When I was a kid in middle school and high school, there was no internet and there was no computers. Well, in middle school they started computer club, but basically all you would do was run a program that just did like a circular loop. They didn't have like Microsoft Word and word processing programs. You couldn't type documents on there. If you wanted to type a document, when I was in undergrad in college, I actually used an electric typewriter to type my papers. And imagine this: you type the whole page. You have to write it out by hand first, and imagine exactly where the lines go. And if you had to put a footnote at the bottom, or if you went too far down, you would have to rip out the page and retype the entire page from start to finish. So can you imagine that? Yes, that's right. We old people like to say, "Oh, you guys have it so easy today." Back in my day, things were much tougher. Old people like us like to say that, but it really is true. But I can relate to what some of you guys said. You're last minute writers. You say you write well under pressure, and I did that too. When I was in undergrad school, I have to tell this story, even though it's really bad to share it because I wasn't a very good role model. So when I was in undergraduate school, I was working on a paper for a class, and it was one of those teachers where he was very strict and stern to the point that every time you walked into class, you're scared. You're like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't yell at me today. And we had a paper due, and we were supposed to bring it at the beginning of class and put it on his desk, and then we had class. So I didn't put it on the front desk at the beginning, and the whole time I'm sweating. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't notice, hope he doesn't notice. After class, I went to him, and I said, Professor, I'm so sorry. My typewriter ribbon broke on my computer. I have the whole thing written out, but I just need a little more time. Please, can I bring it to your office today? And he said, well, all right. And of course, I wasn't telling the truth. I hadn't broken my typewriter ribbon. I hadn't really written the paper yet. So I went home to the dorm. I rushed and I typed out the paper as fast as I could, and then I gave it to him. And I was terrified that it was going to be awful. Well, a few weeks later, I got the grade back, and it said A plus, one of the best papers I've ever received from an undergrad student. So that's my story about writing under pressure. I've done it too, and I got away with it. I will say though that it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's better to plan in advance. And I told a few of you that when it came to my dissertation, that was 229 pages. I couldn't pull an all-nighter and do that. I had to write it over the course of a year, chapter by chapter by chapter. But anyway, I do understand writing at the last minute sometimes brings out genius because you have no choice. You're forced. A couple of you guys I could relate to, you said you're perfectionists when it comes to writing. Especially when I'm doing an email to colleagues or a boss or somebody that I'm nervous about impressing. Sometimes I go back and rewrite the email like 50 times. Sometimes just one word I'll change over and over and over and over again. It's crazy. You could call me OCD maybe. And then I guess that's it. So I really enjoyed reading your all's posts. And it looks like Friday you have 2 quizzes due and 1 writing assignment which talks about code switching. You're going to be asked to look at a reading and a TED Talk that deal with code switching, which is kind of what we've been talking about today. So anyway, I just like to send videos now and then and follow up on things. And so I hope you guys have a good week and the rest of the week and weekend. All right, guys. Thank you. Go Miami Heat.